Hi friends, welcome back to the Avocado Toast Budget. If you're new here, my name is Lexa, and today I want to walk through how to set financial goals for the new year. We are coming rolling into 2022, all hoping that it's going to be a little bit better than 2020 and 2021 were. And of course, something that is usually on the forefront of our mind during this time are resolutions or goals. And I would absolutely love for 2022 to be your financial year, the year that you start getting your finances in order and start feeling more financially confident. But in order to do that, you need a solid foundation. And I have found that that solid foundation often comes from goals. But we talk about goals as if they're just like this easy, intuitive thing to set. But to be perfectly honest with you, up until a couple of years ago, I had no idea how to actually go about setting goals that I felt like were achievable and actually worked in my life. And come to find out, that is because goal setting is a skill, something you have to practice, something that takes strategy, and that hopefully some of these tips can help you out with. So going into the new year, if you want to learn more about saving, investing, paying off debt, and how to finally feel more confident with your money, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below and push that bell notification. That way you never miss an upload. And let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that I recommend that you do, even before you actually start to think about and establish your goals, is to establish your financial order of operations. I like to call this your financial PEMDAS. Does anyone remember that? My millennials, shout out to you if you do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, PEMDAS was used as an acronym to help you remember the order of operations in math, usually in grade school. But in our case, we are going to use this concept to establish what is most important to you financially. I like to break up all financial goals into 6 main category groups. These are saving for a life event, building an emergency fund, building sinking funds, paying off debt, investing for retirement, and spending money. So what we want to do is basically rank all of these and decide which ones are most important to you. Because all of these are basically just everything your money could be doing for you, it is really important for you to have this in the back of your mind and know which ones are forefront on your radar, most important to you right now whenever we do go on to create some goals. So just a real quick rundown so you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to these, and you can rank them, write them on a piece of paper, take some notes in your notes app, just think about it in your head, be conscious of what's most important. Category 1, saving for a life event. Life events I like to think of as things like weddings, vacations, a baby, knowing that you're moving or going to move into a new home. These are things coming up in the horizon in your life, and specifically, things that cost money. I like to start off talking about this one because I also like to reiterate that if you have multiple life events coming up, I also recommend that you kind of rank those, not necessarily in order of importance because they might all be equally important, but in order of which one is coming up the quickest and you're going to need the most money for. Category number 2 is building an emergency fund. An emergency fund is typically 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside in case of, well, an emergency. Something like a job loss, a global pandemic, you catch my drift. I talk more about emergency funds in this video here, but I highly recommend everyone have one. Category number 3 is building sinking funds. Sinking funds are all of the non-monthly expenses in life that you want to save for on a monthly basis. If you don't know a lot about sinking funds, I highly recommend you check out this video here. Talks all about them, breaks down why I love them so much. But to summarize, usually sinking funds include things like car repairs, Christmas, back to school shopping for the kids, expenses that don't come month to month, but you know they're coming. You might not know exactly how much you need to spend and exactly when you're going to spend it, although sometimes things like the holidays you might, but they are larger, less frequent expenses that if you broke them down and started saving a little bit at a time every month, it would be much easier to fund that expense when it does come around. Category number 4 is paying off debt. This can include any debt that is important to you. Again, if you have multiple debts, I highly recommend creating a separate mini sub financial PEMDAS just with which one of your debts is most important for you to pay off. This includes things like student loans, car loans, personal loans, or credit card debt. Category number 5 is investing for retirement. This includes prioritizing monthly contributions to a retirement account, specifically to invest that money for the long term so you have some income whenever you retire. Pro tip, retirement may or may not seem like a long ways away, but I promise you, time is your biggest asset when it comes to investing. If you want to learn more about investing, I will link that up here. And category number 6 is spending money. And even though this is category 6, don't think that I think that this is any less important than the others, because I truly believe that prioritizing spending money on things that bring joy and value to your life is an absolutely valid goal to have. I want to make it very clear that no matter where this is on your list, it's valid. So go ahead, go rank those, order from 1 to 6. I recommend just 1 being number 1, top priority, 6 being number 6, least priority out of all of them. They might all be important to you right now, but try to figure out, if you only had enough money for one of them, which would come next. Once you have established your financial PEMDAS, then we are going to move on to what type of financial goal you want to set. Because believe it or not, there are actually different types of goals. Specifically today, I want to focus on the difference between a performance-based goal and a getting better goal. Performance-based goals generally measure success or completion of a goal based on a measurable outcome or task completion. And they're very helpful if you already have the tools and the skill set to complete them. I highly recommend looking into a performance-based goal if you are someone who isn't like a complete newbie to finances, or you've had some experience budgeting and managing your money in the past, and you already have the skills that you need in order to reach concrete performance-based goals. An example of a really awesome performance-based goal system is SMART goals. With SMART goals, you focus on setting performance-based goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. For me, setting performance-based goals this way was a game changer because it really gave me something to establish where I was headed with my goal and to know exactly when I had met that goal. One example of a SMART financial goal could be, I want to put an extra $400 a month toward my credit card debt for 2 years in order to pay off my credit card debt in full. During this time, to avoid cycling back into credit card debt, I will not spend any more money on my credit card. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And honestly, when people would ask me about setting financial goals, I always just focused on SMART goals and this idea of a performance-based goal. But recently, I've also been learning about the magic of getting better goals. As opposed to performance-based goals that measure the success off of an outcome or task completion, getting better goals focus on acquiring new knowledge, establishing new habits, and increasing your confidence. I like to look at getting better financial goals as money mindset. SMART goals are to performance-based goals, as money mindset is to getting better goals. While a SMART goal might go really in depth about how you are going to pay off a certain debt or save a certain amount of money, a getting better goal might focus instead on you changing up your spending habits or your budgeting habits. It might look something like, for the year of 2022, I am going to track my spending from month to month and then review that spending. It's not based on paying off a certain amount of debt, saving a certain amount of money, but instead on establishing behavior changes over the long term. If you are someone who is really overwhelmed with your finances, you are a total newbie, and you have a lot of shame and guilt around money, I highly recommend starting with getting better goals and then working your way into those performance-based goals. Because I know that it can be really defeating if you start setting goals that might actually be unachievable, but you think that they're achievable, and then you feel really bad about yourself if you didn't achieve them. Whereas with a money mindset shift or a getting better goal, it is more about just progress, one step in the right direction at a time. Getting better goals are focused on the journey, performance-based goals are based on the destination. And honestly, I don't think that one is better than the other. I think it just depends on what kind of person you are, where you're at in your financial journey, and what works for you. No matter which type of goal you decide to go with, or if you decide to kind of mix and match, do a little bit of each, I highly recommend that you consult that order of operations that we made earlier so that you can make sure while you are setting your goals, you're on track. I also want to stress the importance of knowing that personal goals are absolutely related to financial goals, and that it's totally okay if while you're writing your financial goals, you are also thinking of and writing out personal goals, because let's be honest here, money affects everything in our life and it all relates. If one of your personal goals is to move out of the state that you are in, then one of your financial goals might need to be to financially prepare to move out of the state that you're in, because if you've ever moved before, you know that moving always costs way more money than you think it's going to. So that is it for today's video. I really hope that this helped you to start thinking about how you're going to establish your 2022 financial goals. I've got a good feeling about 2022. I really hope that this is our year. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you all next time. Bye.